Welcome here. My name is Therese, and you guys asked for me to share with you a bunch of realistic meals in a day. So that's what this video is. I'm going to share with you breakfast, lunch, and dinner as a family of 7. I am a young mama, and I have 5 kids, 7 and under. So this is a typical day of meals. If you haven't seen my week of breakfast or dinners yet, I have a couple of those. You can check them out on my channel. My channel is still quite new, so I'm slowly building up my library of videos, and I do want to add more to that type of content, but I hope you enjoy today's video. I start off my day with AG1. This is something that I have on an empty stomach for the best absorption possible. My husband also enjoys this too. They're not a sponsor, but AG1, whenever you're ready, we are ready. So my kids have a variety of different things for breakfast, and I really enjoy that because we can kind of just put food out and they eat it. Some of my kids are just having some local eggs that have been cooked up. Some of my kids are enjoying some yogurt and granola. Another one of my kids decided to have a bowl of cereal as well with their yogurt. And as far as cereal goes, I am that picky mom. It's not every day that I will let my kids have a particular type of cereal. I like to stick to Nature Valley because it usually has like 5 ingredients in it, and I know what they all are, and I'm fine with them all. So to each their own though. I am making an egg skillet for myself and for a couple other kids. I will also make the same one for Kieran after. But what I'm doing is cracking about half a dozen eggs into a cast iron pan, adding in meat. I have local ham and pepperoni. I'm adding in some of my pickled banana peppers, which are absolutely delicious in here, some cherry tomatoes as well. I'm gonna put on some spinach. You also saw me put on some goat cheese. That's what I'm missing. And what I'm gonna do is just bake this at about 350 for give or take 15-20 minutes. Basically until it stops wiggling. If you were to shake the cast iron, then you know it's ready. I like doing this because you can easily just put everything into the cast iron and then go about your day, do whatever you have to do for the next 15 minutes, and then you take it out, put it on a plate, and enjoy. I like this with salt and pepper and hot sauce. My kids just salt for the most part. I'm gonna dish out some little portions for these kiddos to fill up on. This isn't all they're eating for breakfast. They've probably had 2 things by this time, and this is just a little bit extra because they wanna eat whatever I'm eating. I'm not good at making coffee. I do drip, and that's as far as I go, but Kieran makes really good coffee. He'll do French press, pour over. This is a mocha pot. This is probably my favorite, and he's been doing this every morning for the past couple months. So we get to enjoy some mocha pot coffee, and then this is getting close to 10 o'clock. Breakfast is cleaned up. Everyone is pretty much just like drinking water and juice at this point, and I'm making some muffins. So this is an old muffin recipe that I'm pretty sure it was my Mormor's. What I'm trying to do is make it dairy free and add in sourdough, and I did not like the result of the consistency in the end, but I really enjoyed the flavor. These are lemon, raspberry, blueberry muffins, and they're so good, but you'll see later the consistency is like, so I need to work on it. I do like a light texture flavor muffin. It's just, there's something about it. It tastes better, it feels better, it butters better, so that's what I'm working on here. But this is gonna kind of be a snack for later. I will usually bake something pretty much every single day, and if not every single day, I'll make a big batch one day and it'll carry us over for the next day as well. I have these mini muffin tin containers. These are silicone. I really like them. Usually the muffin batter never sticks. It did this time though, so I kind of had to be a little bit flexible and use a spoon to help take this out. I'm gonna go ahead and bake these. I will share the recipe once it's actually done well. I'm excited to figure this out. And then, yes, I will share it with you. But now we're on to lunch. It's 11:30. I like making lunch about 20 minutes before we eat it. And lunch is always random. Sometimes it's leftovers. Sometimes the kids are eating and then I eat and then Kieran. Sometimes we all eat together. It is absolutely random, but this is what today looks like. We really enjoy sandwiches. This is my sourdough sandwich bread loaf. This is my bread machine recipe. If you haven't seen that video, check out my channel. It's there, and I really enjoy, actually I'll link it down below. I really enjoyed this bread loaf. I'm adding in my homemade mayonnaise, butter, mustard, our local ham again. I'm throwing some Havarti onto sandwiches that can have it, such as not mine, because dairy bothers my stomach and gives me really bad acne. I'm also adding in cucumber and apple, avocado on different ones. Like, I'm just kind of randomly throwing things on. Oh, I had some leftover bacon. I thought, oh man, this with avocado, sauerkraut, you have to be kidding me. So again, it's random, but what I'm wanting is something yummy, something filling, and something that I can spread across all these plates. Because what I've noticed in the past bit, which has been great, is I can feed Kieran kind of the same thing that I could feed Edmund, in the sense that Edmund can enjoy a sandwich and so can Kieran. Edmund can enjoy chicken fried rice and so can Kieran. And that's been really nice. If you don't know who Edmund is, he's my baby. He's like 10 months old. He's going to be 1 next month. So I guess he's getting closer to 11 months old. So sometimes it can be tricky in the beginning stage because you're feeding different people different things. But now one food goes across all of us, which is really handy. As you can see, I'm trying to take these muffins out. They are delicious, just tricky to get out, and I'm not crazy about the texture. So we're gonna keep working on it. I like a fluffy, light textured muffin. It just is so much better. So much better. I'm gonna figure this out. I can't wait to share with you. So back to coffee. I drink tons of water during the day, and I have a coffee in the morning, like what I showed you, and then a coffee midday, which will kind of last me for a couple hours because it takes me forever to get through a cup of coffee. I'm using my Mr. Coffee latte machine. It's Kieran's coffee beans that he roasted, and the creamer is just frothed cashew and almond milk that I made at home. I'm not into latte art, but I am trying to perfect some circles, which I realize sounds really weird, but if you can do circles, you can make a mouse, you can make flowers, you can make the sun. So working on my circles before I go any further in my latte art creation. I am going to get started on dinner here. I start on dinner early. I always do. I am the queen of margin. I will make things hours before I need them because it works well for me, and I love checking my things off of my to-do list. So here I'm chopping up peppers and onion, and there's two things I'm doing with it. One thing, I am putting it in a bowl for dinner. And the other thing, I'm putting it in a freezer-safe container for egg skillet, or whenever I need some sort of a pepper onion medley. I like having frozen vegetables, especially frozen peppers and onions, just because I find it's nice having them pre-chopped and ready for anything. Soups, egg skillet, burritos, you name it, it's there. So I'm gonna go ahead, chop all these real fine, some for dinner, some for the freezer. This is kind of like meal prepping. For me, it's just ridiculously convenient. I just have to say, this dress was thrifted, vintage. I actually sewed it to fit me because the sizing was way too large, and you can't get it anywhere. I know I'm going to get questions, and I'm just gonna let you know right now. It's apparently one of a kind, and I have sewn it to myself, and you can't find it. But I would love to see if I could either sew a dress like this from an old pattern or find a store that sells something very similar. It's kind of like a pinafore looking dress. And I really enjoy it, and I can't wait to start wearing it more in the cooler months with like tights and a turtleneck. Anyway, we are now going to messily start making some sourdough tortillas. This is basically my flat bread sourdough recipe minus the baking powder. I'll link that video. It's my sourdough favorites video down below. You're gonna follow that flatbread recipe, but you're just gonna nix the baking powder because that's gonna help it rise. I don't need any further rising with a tortilla. I want it to stay thin and flexible. So I'm going to put that dough together. It has a little bit of a resting time to help with the gluten, the fermentation, the stickiness of the dough itself. So after about 20 minutes, I'm going to re-knead it, do some pulling, some hitting of my dough, and then I'm going to cover it again until a little person comes over and decides they want to play with the dough. Dough for kids, especially small kids, is so sensory. We also play good morning, good night with the towel, and it's fun. Molly really, really enjoys it. I like also doing dough with the kids because usually it's not messy. It's different than if you're going to make oatmeal cookies or something. That's so messy, but for the most part, the dough kind of stays together and it doesn't get too bad. And I like having the kids around when I'm making food. It's just really fun. All right, so for these tortillas, I like having them well floured, the counter as well as on top. I will roll, I will flip, and I'll roll some more. I like rolling them until they are thinner than I think they should be because they do rise quite nicely and they can thicken in the cast iron pan itself. So if you're able to roll it so paper thin, do it. I take my time here. These tortillas are not only great for tacos, but they're great for just like jam, peanut butter, flats the next day, or pinwheels or burritos. And they're so easy to make. You also just make them with sourdough discard, which for me, it's actually hard for me to keep a stash of sourdough discard. So usually I have to really think in advance if I am going to make these because I'll feed my starter extra and put some sourdough starter aside to become discard that I will be able to use for this recipe. I'm gonna have two of my cast irons going. One will be for my vegetables. These are the peppers and onion I cut previously. I'm gonna add in some corn because I have it. And then into the other pan, I'm just putting in some beef. This is beef I got at Costco a long time ago. It's like a big tube of it, super cheap. A lot of the time I try to buy my meat locally, but sometimes just cost effective wise, I'm gonna buy it from Costco because I need my money to stretch further some months, and this is a great way to do it. To both of my pans, I'm gonna add in sea salt, garlic powder, cumin, turmeric, chili powder, and to my vegetable medley, I'm gonna actually add in some lime juice. It gives it such a nice tang. I also have some leftover al pastor that you see here that I'm gonna add to my beef. And then I have all these awesome little tomatoes that I am going to slice up that we will use in our tacos as well. When I was maybe 9 or 10, I continued to dislike avocados. I never liked avocados, but I decided that every single time I had tacos, my mom made tacos, I would have a taco with guacamole. And I was like, I'm determined to like this. And after a couple years of doing it, I realized that I do not ever want to have a taco without really good guacamole. To my guacamole, I like adding fresh garlic, lime juice, sea salt. Maybe sometimes a little cumin, a little chili, but that's it. We're gonna top our tacos with some of those pickled banana peppers. I also have cheese and sour cream for those who want it. And of course, cilantro. These were amazing that day, and I am also, this is a couple days later I'm doing this, I'm also going to enjoy it over the next few days as leftovers for lunch. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!